In the peaceful village of Umudike, surrounded by rolling hills and fields of yam, there lived an old widow named Izen. Her face bore the lines of time and toil, but her eyes sparkled with the wisdom of countless stories. She had 2 daughters, identical twins named Edeora and Chidinma. These girls were as beautiful as the dawn breaking over the hills, but their stubbornness was as sharp as the teeth of a wild dog. Though the village loved the twins for their beauty and charm, they were notorious for causing trouble. Izen, left to raise them alone after her husband Okeke's mysterious death, often sighed, muttering, "The gods must have given me 2 daughters to test my patience." Yet, beneath her exasperation lay a mother's deep love and fear for her daughter's future. One humid evening, a stranger rode into the village on a white horse. His arrival sent ripples through the community, for he was no ordinary traveler. This was Chief Nonko, a merchant of great wealth, with a retinue of servants and goods that dazzled the eyes. He had come with a purpose, to find a wife for his only son, Obina. The news spread like wildfire. Women began to cook special meals, hoping to catch the chief's eye. Fathers polished their daughters' virtues in loud conversations at the village square. But Edeora and Chidinma, overhearing the gossip, exchanged a sly glance. "That man's son will be mine," Edeora declared, her chin raised defiantly. Chidinma laughed, a quiet, mocking sound. "We'll see about that." Izen, who had been grinding pepper in the kitchen, overheard them. She emerged, wiping her hands on her wrapper, and said, "My daughters, listen to me. A man is not a prize to be fought over. True worth lies in the heart, not in beauty or riches." The twins, as usual, paid no heed. When Obina arrived in Umudike a week later, the village gathered to welcome him. He was tall, with skin the color of roasted cocoa and a smile that could melt stone. Edeora immediately stepped forward, bold and confident. She greeted him in flawless igbo, praising his journey and subtly hinting at her own virtues. Chidinma, ever the strategist, hung back. She observed Obina's reactions, noting the way his eyes lingered on the marketplace. That evening, she approached him quietly, offering a bowl of fresh palm wine and speaking of the city markets, subtly drawing parallels to her keen sense of business. Izen watched from her hut, shaking her head. 2 hawks circling the same prey, she muttered. Something about Obina troubled her, but she couldn't place her finger on it. There was an unease in his smile, a flicker in his gaze that reminded her of her late husband's death, the one she never spoke of. As days turned into weeks, the twins' rivalry became intense. Edeora would wear her finest beads and sing loudly while pounding yam in the courtyard, ensuring Obina noticed. Chidinma, meanwhile, found ways to cross paths with him, always pretending it was by chance. Their once inseparable bond began to crack, and their quarrels grew sharper. One fateful evening, during a village festival, the tension between the sisters boiled over. Obina, seemingly amused by the twins' attention, gave each a gift, a string of coral beads for Edeora and a golden anklet for Chidinma. It was a simple gesture, but it lit a fire of jealousy in their hearts. "You think that anklet means anything?" Edeora sneered later that night. At least he didn't give me something as common as coral beads, Chidinma shot back. Their voices carried into the night, reaching Izen, who sat outside under the moonlight. She sighed heavily, the weight of an unspoken fear pressing down on her chest. One morning, Izen called the twins into her hut. Her face was grave, her voice low. "There is something you do not know about your father's death," she began. The twins froze. Their father's death had always been shrouded in mystery. All they knew was that he had traveled to a neighboring village and never returned. Izen continued, her voice trembling. "Your father was lured into a trap by greed and pride. He trusted the wrong people and paid with his life. I see the same blindness in both of you." The twins were stunned but unmoved. "Mama, this is different," Edeora insisted. "Yes," Chidinma added. "Obinna is not a trap. He is our future." Izen shook her head. "You are running toward a fire, and you think it is light." Izen's fears proved prophetic. It turned out that Obinna had no intention of marrying either of the twins or anyone in Umudike. He was already married to a woman in the city. His father had sent him to the village not for a bride, but to secure land for a new business venture. When the truth emerged, the village erupted in scandal. Edeora and Chidinma were humiliated, and their quarrels turned vicious. One night, in a fit of rage, Edeora destroyed Chidinma's favorite jewelry, and Chidinma retaliated by throwing Edeora's prized wrapper into the fire. Izen, heartbroken, fell ill. On her deathbed, she called the twins to her side. With the last of her strength, she whispered, "A family that fights within itself is like a pot with a crack, it cannot hold water. Do not let my death be in vain." Izen's death shattered the twins. They buried her with heavy hearts, and the village mourned the loss of its wise storyteller. In their grief, the twins finally faced the truth: their rivalry had blinded them to what truly mattered. As they sat by Izen's grave, Edeora spoke first. "I was a fool." "So was I," Chidinma admitted, tears streaming down her face. They embraced, their sobs echoing through the quiet night. The twins channeled their grief into action. They took over their mother's akara business, working together to honor her memory. Their bond grew stronger, and the villagers marveled at how the once feuding sisters had become inseparable again. But in the quiet moments, when the fire burned low and the village slept, the twins would sit under the stars, thinking of their mother's words. They knew they would carry her lessons and their guilt for the rest of their lives. The tale of Izen and her stubborn twins became a legend in Umudike, told with laughter and tears. It was a reminder that pride and stubbornness could destroy, but love and humility could rebuild even the most broken of bonds.